Hello, awesome folks. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today we're taking a look at the 1940 serial, The Green Hornet, which I've never seen before. It's a part of my serial Saturday that's getting published today for you folks. As a reminder, this was also done by Universal and so forth. I knocked it out. It's in 13 parts too, like a lot of serials are. It was popular enough to have a few things. It had a sequel in 1941, the next year, called the Green Hornet Strikes Back, Strikes Again, similar to The Empire Strikes Back, which is also influenced by pulp era stuff and things like serials and Flash Gordon and such. This is more in the superhero genre, not in the science fiction genre like Flash Gordon and Star Wars, but there's still an influence in there upon each of these things. For you folks, my review here will be spoiler free, except for the first episode, which you can find very fast. I will link you to this in the comments below. After the sequel, there was on a competitor show in the 60s. They re-showed the Batman serial to good stuff, and then they started the Batman show, which was a campy show in the 60s and so forth. And they decided to do that with the Green Hornet too, and they re-showed the serials, and then they redid a show for a season. They took it seriously rather than sort of the campy, fun Batman, so it was only around for a season for you folks. That's out there too. There's also the 2011 movie, which I haven't seen. So this is not this is only, it was based on a popular radio play at the time. Just as a heads up for you folks. This stars as both Britt Reed and the Green Hornet, Gordon Jones for you folks. He's fun. All my notes are down here. That's what I'm looking down. And such. K-E-Y-E. Luke is an assistant. Kato, for you folks, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a little bit. Wade Boteler is the character of Michael Axford. Ann Nagel is the only female character in there. She's an assistant at the newspaper place, and then an assistant and playing a reporter, an investigative reporter for the Planet, is Chase, is Philip Trevor for you folks. So he's down there too for you folks, and those are all the main characters and so forth. So the basic spoiler-free concept for this, again from the first episode and so forth, is that the basic concept is that we are having a new person has recently taken over from his father, the highly decorated and beloved newspaper by the Sentinel that does a lot of great stuff. And in the first episode, he is approached by some of his father's allies, and they are basically telling him that they need his support continuing, just like his dad did, writing editorials that supported the police and against corruption and law enforcement, the district attorney and such, right? So all these people are out there from the city trying to get the Sentinel's support to continue and so forth. And they're telling him that they need a modern sort of, because of how corrupt everything is and how nasty the city is and how strong their opposition is in the criminal element. They need a Robin Hood, a modern day Robin Hood. And that idea sticks with him. And from that idea will be the Green Hornet. And so he'll set out both as an investigative reporter and owner of the Sentinel, who's also an investigative reporter regularly, and will be running things, and then also as a Green Hornet too. So he'll be involved in both aspects to take out an organized crime ring for you folks. This is very Batman in that sense. It's a wealthy person. His dad's died. He's single. He hasn't gotten married. He's dedicated to the job. He's going to get seen as in a negative light very soon because he's going to turn into a vigilante of the Green Hornet versus the vigilante of the Batman, right? There's a lot of Bruce Wayne Batman analogies, but there are also some Superman ones there too. For example, he's a member of the press, like Clark Kent and Lois Lane. So that press angle and element. So I think this is I think because of this synergy between the two. I wonder if Stan Lee had remembered this, either intentionally or not, as an opportunity for the creation of Spider-Man, because the idea of somebody working and then also following their own exploits as a superhero definitely feels, who's also a vigilante and is negative injustice and such, and then also feels very, very Green Hornet-ish. The only difference is both are kids that are that don't have their parents around anymore, right? But the only difference is that one is of money and owns the newspaper, whereas the other is not, and such. But that's basically the only one. One's of money, the other one isn't. That's basically the only major difference between the two. And I wonder if Stan Lee remembered that either intentionally or not intentionally, that sort of oeuvre from the Green Hornet for you folks. And so forth. So I think that so this is definitely of its time. The main character of Tang was originally a Japanese one in the serial, but as Japanese started to get more and more involved and anti-Japanese sentiment started to change, they removed his Japanese intro, and as he's one of the main characters in this, and he's like a valet and a smart person and very loyal. And then they removed that from the radio show, and here they've changed his background to Korean, which at the time in 1940, prior to the the Pearl bombing, however, like a year and such, was definitely a good call retrospectively, right? They would change it back after World War II, a few years later, and then he went back to being Japanese. And so forth. So there is a little bit, but even though he is played of an actor who's a Chinese actor in this case, and that Chinese actor is East Asian, as opposed to say Ming the Merciless from the Flash Gordon serials, who's played by a yellow-faced Charles Middleton. So I like that too. Just like Prince Catton from Buck Rogers Prince Town rather, is played by an East Asian person rather than yellow-faced, in this case a Korean person. So I definitely like that, and so forth. It's nice to see somebody with that sort of a genre, but there's still some limitations to the character, if you will, to that era. It's definitely of its time. It's a 1940 serial, and has 1940 serial approaches to race rather than the sort of modern concepts, right? And so forth. All right, so let's talk about my review overall. So the pacing here is good. It was rarely slow, and so forth, which I liked a lot. And the acting here is okay at times. It can be a little wooden at times. It's all right. It's not the worst thing in the world. There aren't any annoying characters like the investigative reporter from the second Flash Gordon serial, Flash Gordon Trip to Mars, Happy Good, or the conclusion, right? There's no sort of or Buddy from Buck Rogers, which I just knocked out, and so forth. So that's nice too, and so forth. But it's a little less scope. The core story. There being a syndicate, criminal syndicate of 12 people and going against them, so forth. I think it works for a 13-part serial. I definitely think that makes sense for the serial and so forth. But there are some limitations. It definitely feels like some of the singles episodes are a little less powerful and strong, and wouldn't involve him to use the Green Hornet side. You feel like he just needs an investigative journalist side. So I feel that there are some limitations to the story building as a result. And again, the acting isn't the best, and these combat scenes are not good. Right. We're just coming off of Captain Marvel, great combat scenes from the same year. Also great special effects too. This one just doesn't have the same level from the same year of Captain Marvel. My first serial that I reviewed for you folks, which was a 10 out of 10. It just doesn't stand up. They're both superheroes, but this one just doesn't have the same power or energy or action, or not even the action scenes of the Flash Gordon serial either. So this is more of a 7 out of 10 for you folks. As a reminder, all my serials are combined with other serials. They're not separate. Now, the reason why I'm doing a movie serials is because I think that the movie serial is a forgotten genre and method of storytelling that we've forgotten about, right? So, for example, we're using movie serials at the time were what brought people into the movie theaters, right? It sold many many tickets, right? At that time, you would have earlier trailers weren't that big, but there were the occasional trailer for bigger movies. You would have them come in. They would have a couple of shorts, like a cartoon or a newsreel, or maybe a trailer. And then the A movie, the prime movie, and then one of the serials, and maybe a short or two. Then maybe a 20 or 30-minute intermission. And then you come back for another couple of shorts, a B movie, which was a lot shorter, sometimes only an hour long, and then another these serials with cliffhanger endings to make you come back to the serial theater the next week. Was the last one, right? So it was a key part of what brought people coming back to the movie theaters, right? It was what they would talk about in the intermission. It was what they would talk about on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This was the key topics of the day were serials, right? It's what brought people in and out. Everybody would go to the local theater. The community, the families would go together, right? That's what happened, right? It was big stuff. This is what kept people coming. This is what they were talking about. Were serials, and we've forgotten about them with television shows and movies surviving. But we just largely have forgotten the art of the movie serial. Right? So I like to go back for that. Again, the channel's name. That's the worst thing about new books, right? That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? So forgetting these older, forgotten classics that have heavily influenced us are key things, right? So there you are. Have you watched this, and do you agree or disagree? The Green Hornet from 1940 serial. And if so, do you agree or disagree with my 7 out of 10? Let's talk about it in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. Agree or disagree, just try to keep it spoiler free. And then as a reminder, this channel's, I already talked about that. So if you enjoyed this video, why not hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon if you're feeling frisky. And then let your friends know about sci-fi fans, superhero friends, serial friends, right? Green Hornet friends. Let them know about this too. And then finally, I just want to pause and take a moment so much to thank you for taking some time out of your day and investing in watching my video, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so much. Thanks again, and have an amazing day.